Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alaine Adams. Some people call me Stockmom, and it is my pleasure to introduce you to Aftermarket Therapy. To talk about your trading day, talk about the market, and no matter what happens,
we're gonna be alright. Alright, alright, alright. Alright, alright, alright.
and it is my pleasure to introduce you to Aftermarket Therapy. All right, you know what time it is. It's Aftermarket Therapy. My name's Alaine Adams. Some people call me Stockmom, and you know what we're going to do here? We're going to talk about our feelings. We're going to talk about the market. We're going to talk about how to stay profitable when all the market does is give you straight shit burgers. I have two amazing guests today. I brought on Chris, our background producer, one of my favorite traders, and also Chen. Welcome, both of you guys. How are you feeling today?
Hey Alaine, how you doing? What's up, Chris? How are you?
Oh man, Chris, you're pretty low. Yeah. And mic for me.
I think his mic actually be off. I don't hear him.
All right, hold on one second.
We're gonna let Chris deal with his technicals. So normally I like to start the days off with a quote, and today is no different. So I'm a prolific Charlie Munger fan, I guess, and it's something that I do. You're still pretty low, Chris. So the quote goes like this: one of the smartest things a person can do is dampen investment expectations, especially with Berkshire. That would be mature and responsible. Now, I think it's interesting for somebody who works at a firm to say, like, temper your expectations. Something I've thought and said about, especially like ARC or just to pick a fund that has just exceeded all expectations and thought, is the idea that, like, well, okay, this is great, but what about the 20-year return? What does that look like, right? And I find that companies, that ETFs, whatever it is, that do this, what I like to call constructive growth, something that shows stable support, tends to be, for me personally, the trades that have that consistent based outcome. And so the idea of just tempering, you know what, I've known a lot of people who've had some rough times in the past few months. And you know, one of my friends, she's like, hey, I think I'm going to quit trading. It's like, did you have an amazing year last year? Did you make like over 100% on your account last year? For a lot of people, the answer is absolutely. Well, okay, then maybe this year will balance you out and bring you back towards, if you can do 20% year over year for the rest of your life, they'll write books about you. That they'll throw parades in your honor. You will not have a problem getting a job at a fund or a firm. But most people can't do that. Most people aren't going to be profitable 2 years in a row, let alone in 10 years. So it's just something that I'm thinking about. Chen, do you have a take on tempering expectations when it comes to returns in the market?
Oh yeah, I mean, you said 2 years. I think that's actually that's pretty good, because I've been trading for 8 years now, and I think to become profitable, it took me more than 4 years to actually be consistent, and still working on it, because everything comes to, like you said at the beginning, talking about feelings, everything comes down to your feelings, and it's emotions. You know, trying to conquer your emotions is one of the biggest things in trading, and I think that's where most people fail.
Yeah, I really agree with that. I mean, for me personally, that's where the whole aftermarket therapy idea came from, actually. I had a friend that was doing tutoring, like stock tutoring, and she basically said, like, you know what, I do these tutoring sessions, but it's really more like therapy. People just want to talk about how they feel and hear some and complain about their trades, basically. And it's like, yeah, that's what I want to do too. I find that in so many spaces, people really just want to be validated or have their thoughts heard, not that they're looking for somebody to tell them how to trade. And along with that was the idea that not only do they not want somebody to tell them how to trade, I think it's actually deleterious or negative in the long run when you do have that sort of situation. I know so many of us, I've had classes, plenty of people in the community do some sort of classes, and I've taken and I've spent a lot of money on specific specifically options trading courses and stuff like that. But one of the most important things was getting around a bunch of competent traders and just being able to talk shop and developing my own trading style. And once I was able to develop that, it really, like you're saying, this took years. This was year 4 for sure. Before I started really being consistently profitable, but in my own trading style. And now I'm at this point where I don't want to listen to too many people. I definitely take advice, but it goes through the same process over and over. We're just repetitive. We keep this thing going. So I'll talk a little bit about mine, and then I'd love to hear a little bit more about your trading style and how that developed. So for me, number one, I started with a very small account. And even when I did have more money, I was scared. I was scared to put size into a trade. So because of that, I ended up playing penny stocks. Because of that, I ended up, kind of looking for that thing that would give me that growth with a limited amount of capital. And because of that, I lost a ton of money. I lost a ton of money following people, hearing about the next biopharma FDA approval play that was definitely going to run. And not only that, you know what? I understand supply and demand trading, and that's something that inherently came to me. But seeing people use Fibonacci and talk about retracements or talk about Elliott waves and how the patterns of, whatever, just a bearish trend might actually look, where it's not this straight line that I think people assume that you might see, were things that I'd never done before. So when I followed traders that used that exact same rhetoric, I suffered. I could not hold out, and I didn't understand. So something that I've gone really deep on, actually, and I talk about it a lot, and maybe we'll talk about it today, is understanding my retracement patterns. Is this bull?
Alaine, did you just bug out?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think we lost Alaine there.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me? Am I doing better?
Chris,
Yeah,
we got
Chris
you
is
back,
good.
man.
All right,
Turn
perfect.
your camera on, though.
All right, perfect.
All right, we
Just
lost
making
Alaine, but we got Chris.
Alaine, you back?
Is it? Are we back on? That was pretty crazy. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
back.
you're consolidating right now.
Yeah. All right. We're all here.
Yeah, we're good.
Jesus. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. Well, good, Chris. I'm glad you're here. Now we're going to hear about your trading style and how it developed, to hear your influences. Anyways, so looking for that growth, and sitting in and realizing that my risk and just technical ability wasn't at the place where I could consistently be profitable on penny stocks. I started trading options. Started trading options on large cap tech stocks. Basically, I traded Apple for months. And that helped the technicals get better, really doing the homework on Fibonacci retracements. I took a huge crash course in Ichimoku. I learned a little bit more about the reaction and using support. Your moving averages as support and resistance lines, and also just volume analysis, and the names of some of these things. And I had to stop limiting my capital allocation, right? Like the trades that I was scared to take, I should have been scared to take. And the trades that I was confident to take, I should have been confident to take and put the right amount of capital in them, instead of just being timid and thinking I'm going to keep hitting. So the whole thing turned into, I call it the 3-inch punch style of trading. That's what I'm after. I just want to find the most direct way in the least amount of trades to make the most amount of profit on something that I do feel confident about. And even with that, all of a sudden, straight call options and straight put options started to be something that, like today, I'm not using straight calls and puts right now. I'm lobbing bear put spreads. I'm lobbing bull put spreads. That's the way I want to play it, just because I have to do some risk management. And these are the ways that I know how. So with that said, I know that's kind of a long diatribe, but I think trading style is really interesting. And it's so important to know the style of the traders that you listen to. I'm a day and swing trader. I don't really hold super duper long. Having adding to my full-time long-term investment portfolio is something that's really new to me. Doing deep fundamentals is something that I'm getting into and enjoying, but it's not like I'm a pro at it, or, well, I'm not a pro at anything, but I've been consistently profitable with one thing, and I'm adding more things to the bucket. So Chen, I'd love to start with you, man. How did you get started finding your own style with trading? And then B, could you talk a little bit about what that is and how that informs you in your way through the market?
Yeah. When I first started, I think everyone was like in it. I feel like everyone goes through the same process. So you go into trading. The same penny stock thing you went through was something I went through as well. But I scored my biggest hit. I think everyone goes through that because at first you're a little skeptic. You want to deploy a little bit of capital. Make penny stocks the big gainers, etc. Options wasn't that popular until like recently. Everyone started trading options, and I only been trading options for maybe 2.5 to 3 years now. And I got bored of trading equities because it's so slow. You get like a 10% move. That's like insane because it takes forever to make that 10% move. Whereas options, you make a 1% move. That could be 30% on an options trade, depending on how close your expiration is. So I was like, wow, like I've been like slow. But back then, all I traded was breakouts, momentum, and I found out that wasn't my style. So now I do reversals because breakouts, I think people don't realize when you trade breakouts, you're capturing the little piece right at the top, like just the little pop right above. Whereas like supply and demand, when you play a reversal off demand, you're capturing the whole move that could potentially include like let's say a pattern breakout or whatever. So you're capturing a way bigger move and a way less risk to less risk, more reward. And no one ever told me that. I think a lot of people trade like pennant breakouts or ascending triangle breakouts, but no one told me about reversals. I think reversals is like a hidden secret because you have such great risk to reward ratio for that I think everyone should get onto trading reversals rather than just a breakout where it could fake you out and then just come right back down and you're freaking out like, damn, what do I do now? Especially new traders, if you trade a breakout trade and you don't know exactly how to set your stop loss, you're gonna be scared to crap, and then you're just gonna get out and you just rinse and repeat, just keep losing. So I think getting into reversals was one of the best things that ever happened to me, and then just learning Elliott Wave. That's something that I've gotten into recently through Koronek. He's famous on Twitter, and we became great friends online because like I own the platform, and he bought my platform, and I was like, "You're not Koronek." He was like, "I am," and I'm like, "Send me a DM on Twitter," and he did, and then I was like, "Oh God," and then like he started teaching me, and now I'm using it, and that's how I predicted the dump as well 2 days ago. But yeah, how about you, Chris?
So for me, I'll go
actually before
first.
Chris, Chan, real quick.
Yeah.
How do you time? Because I love playing a reversal play as well, and there's like the number one on my radar right now is Twitter, but there are a number. We could go down the list of companies that had great earnings, great trajectory, look good for the year, fundamentals add up, and what do we see but a downturn? We even saw that happen today, right? With Lowe's, which followed right like Home Depot did, amongst inflationary concerns. So just out of wonder, because I'm with you, I think the recovery play is a play. It's one of the plays to move in. And if you were looking last March, the recovery play was the play. That was it. That's why we're all chilling this year. So, but how do you match your timing? Because no two times are quite alike.
Yeah, so I guess we could like bring up a chart, I guess, right now, if we could just show the chart. But there's not really timing the market. I mean, like when I say obviously, I don't mean like I wish I could time the market. First of all, if I could time the market and I am, like concrete with that, I wouldn't be here right now. I'll be in like the Bahamas or I'll be doing something elsewhere. But Elliott Wave definitely helps a lot. I don't know how you bring up a chart here, but I have the SPY chart. If we could just bring that up.
Hey, Spencer.
Yep. So, from what Koronek told me, so with an Elliott Wave for a correction move, you get a 535. So you see here, which is an ABC correction. So here we get the 5 move down. So we get the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And like a lot of people actually think not everything's like crypto, because crypto literally went, like skydive today. But most things move in waves. So you're gonna have you're gonna have people covering. You're not always gonna just have one move coming down right away or whatsoever. So people are gonna constantly be taking profits. etc. You know, no, there's no such thing as a diamond hand in like the institutional world, because people are actually here to make money and they're not here to play games. So we get the five. It's called a 5-3-5 correction. So you get your 5 move down, your 5 waves down, then you get your ABC relief. So this is where, like, I was. Okay, so now I got to bring in my platform. If that's okay with you, Alaine, you let me know.
Yeah, of course, go for it.
Okay, yeah. So we hit this 3-wave up. So Elliott wave, you got to constantly keep track of and basically recount depending on how the market moves, because nothing is set in stone. You get your initial 5-wave down. So here you expect, and it's also, it has to be confluent with your supply and demand level. So we were hitting levels of demand and supply, and they reacted beautifully. Yep. We get our 3-wave up, and here was on Monday on the 17th. And at the same time on my website, callsorputs.com, I see a bunch of puts hitting the tape. So I'm not sure if we can see it. Yeah, we can see it. So we get a bunch of puts hitting the tape, and the new function we got is the chance AI, and we get a huge one for $800,000 right here with a chance AI of 1.6. A bunch of puts hitting the tape. We get this odd call over here. Could have been an intraday trade, as you can see. It was 2 days for expiration since Monday. So everything else going into June was a bearish play, and that was near the top right here after they made the three-wave relief bounce. So I was like, okay, so now this matches perfectly with supply level. So I could expect, and giving time with the calls or puts options, we're 2 to 3 weeks out. So I have time to let it play out and see if it gets invalidated. So I took the trade. I posted it on my Twitter. Like it's a great time to go short into June, especially with the FOMC minutes today. A lot of people were uncertain. People were concerned about the interest rates. That thing was just going up, down, left, right, and we're like, what the hell? So I was like, let me take the puts. Took the puts, and then here we are. I still think that we're gonna have one more leg down, as you can see here. It's also confluent with a gap that we had that was never filled. So I think this is a A equals C. So it's an $18 move from the top. That should put us near the 400 level. But yeah, that's my trading style, and I think patience is key. Waiting for things to develop rather than just going right into a trade is not something that took me forever to learn. But what do you think? Do you think the market's gonna go up or down?
You know what? It's kind of a tricky one to call right now, but I can say that I'm struggling for reasons to go long. Right? Like if I'm going to take a position right now, I definitely am looking and seeing the potential for down. But to be honest, I'm trading everything. It's a stock picker's market, man. I enjoy that type of analysis. I agree with that idea that we definitely have another leg down to do, a gap to fill around the 400 level. And in general, we've just seen a pretty weak reaction. I cared a lot about the FOMC minutes. I think tapering is something that we're going to see a pretty large scale reaction to, even though they've been saying this for quite some time. And the other side of the inflation argument of the fact that we're just printing ourselves out of and also into a problem. And that is not the end all be all in terms of solutions for economic recovery and support are weighty things to be said. And we've even seen that reaction with like lumber prices, housing starts in April. Right. So lumber prices go up, housing starts in April goes down. And all of a sudden we see this big shocked surprise reaction from the market. Like, of course, people were going to, of course, wait. Right. And wait for that better price. And it was going to come, and it did. And we saw a little bit of a lumber rebound. So, you know what? So I agree. I agree that the market might have another leg down. I also could easily see some nice, smooth movement to the upside and then a rejection as we move towards, try to hold over 410. Right. I could definitely see some upside as well. But Chris, I'm so sorry. Man, I didn't mean to cut you off or anything. I'd love to hear a little bit more about where you developed trading style and how that sort of informed you on your way through the market.
Gotcha. So for me, I started about 5 years ago in the crypto space. Just Ethereum, some Bitcoin. I actually heard about Ethereum for the first time at like $44, and I decided to buy like 2 or 3 shares. And my friend was like, "Nah, dude, you got to go in. You got to get Ethereum." And I'm like, "Man, I don't know enough about this stuff. Like, I can't do it." And so, in 2017, when Ethereum did what it did, and I had the 3 shares, and my friend was like, "Now, see, didn't I tell you?" And from that moment on, I knew that this was something that I had to do, because from 3 shares of Ethereum, I had made more money than I had made on 2 weeks at a job, like for working for Samsung. And I was like, "Wait a minute, like, no." So this is what I have to do. Now, as far as like, you know, the market and things today, like how it developed, I really studied the Ian Dunlap's really started teaching me to dive into the futures. But to be perfectly honest, I had been trading penny stocks, momentum trades. I had actually picked up some a few pieces from the Atlas team when I was doing the penny stock world, really learning personalities of the stocks, things like that. That was more so last year, but I had like started trading, investing more so about 2 years ago. And I had really just started picking up the tools, the technical analysis pieces from Ian Dunlap, and then perfectly honest, I hopped on Clubhouse, met people like you, met people like Chan. And he was like, "Yo, you got to try this," and then you were like, "Yo, you got to try this," and I had already like been naturally keen to finance and financial markets, and had a huge understanding of the tech space, and so it came really easy to me at first. But the thing that I was missing is that I had missed patience. I missed correlating futures to the market. I was actually only really trading indices for a little while and correlating there back down to individual stocks. I didn't even understand futures until like early last year. And then you like really opened my mind up to it, Alaine, personally. So I do have to thank you for that. But for me, I actually use a multitude of things. I actually use callsorputs.com to confirm the trade. I was actually seeing the SPY puts coming through when I went into the UVXY trade, but I went into that trade 2 days ago for the same reason. We were sitting around, what, 414, 415. And then I decided to hold a little overnight. And then we got that news about Trump's investigation on top of the puts, on top of the RSI, on top of everything else that I was using to confirm. And I was like, "Oh yeah, we're riding this baby today." And my calls went like 330%. And it was nuts. I had a great day. I know my crypto account kind of suffered, but when you hedge well, you know, kind of things work out. So I was really appreciative of the tools that I've been able to acquire over the past couple of years to kind of make my trading day go well for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I'd love to ask both of you, and then we'll kind of move more. When you make your way and do analysis, what do you give more precedence to in that analysis? I notice we've all kind of had some experience with using algos or just some sort of assistance. Some people are massively fundamental. I think I'm moving more and more sort of into that region. I know some people who trade a lot based off of, you know, mimetic hype and just social sentiment on things, right? So if we had those and obviously technicals, so if we had all of those together, what are you going to first to start to make your way into the trade or kind of put your eyes on the stock? Are we checking our algos first? Are we going with the technicals? Do you look for that fundamental entry and then wait for the technical opportunity? And I want an answer. So don't be egalitarian and just say whatever. It's all important. I know it's all important.
Chris, you want to go first, or you want me to?
I can actually go first.
Yeah, go.
So the first thing that I'm looking for, well, one, I'm looking for disruptive technology. That's just the space that I came from. That's the space that I understand the most immediately. And so from there, I just look for like immediate sympathy. Manufacturers of certain devices, or who makes the screens. And the reason I go into that is because honestly, I worked for LG as a marketing manager before the mobile program shut down for a while. And I was doing that for 3+ years. And so on the back end, I learned, like, dude, LG really doesn't even sell phones like that. Like, we're major players in the screen space, and we're major players on the chip side of things. And it's like, I didn't even really understand until I started working in the tech space the intricacies of everything that was being done. And of course, you know, as traders, that magnifies, right? And so for me, I kind of really start there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those people that will trade momentum. So if I see something that's really popular, really hot, especially if it's a sector that I'm looking into but haven't quite gotten there, I'll take a bio play on an FDA approval. I see enough people talking about it. Like if I find the date and like, you know, I see, you know, something, let's just say 20, 30, 40,000 retweets. I'm like, let me go check this one out. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, FDA approval in a week or two? I'll play it, whatever. And I know it's a little gambly, but, you know, I'm kind of young. I'm on the younger side, so I have a little more room to play with. But, yeah, I'll do that, and then I'll jump in. For me first, after I find the play that I'm looking into, I go straight for the fundamentals. If it don't make money, it don't make sense. So that's me.
Yeah, I think I do the same thing in a way. I just recently got into the Twitter world, and like seeing the amount of like drama on FinTwit, I was like, wow, this is like a new world. Like I thought like StockTwits was bad, and then you have Twitter. But then again, they're like somewhat like similar. But yeah, I mainly trade a set amount of stocks. So majority of the time I'm either trading just the SPY, QQQ. I am recently starting, it's funny you guys brought it up, into futures. I just opened up a futures account. I'm waiting for them to approve my my business account. Because there's no slippage. You know, there's no data, there's no Greeks, nothing. You're just playing by the tick. So yep. I am gonna get into that, but as of right now, I really just trade SPY. If something comes up, like if I see something crazy on callsorputs.com, or I see something on FinTwit, or Chris tweet something, then I'll check it out. You know, like I usually try to stick to my thing. And Alaine, you brought up a great point, because one of my friends who is really, really good at what he does, he thought that the market was going to go up yesterday. And this is why sometimes you just need your like safe haven where you just don't listen to anybody, because people are going to affect you, you know? And I think that's the worst, because you're confident in yourself, and then someone that you trust and you know he's a good trader tells you that he thinks the market's going to go up, and I'm just like, damn, like crap, is the market going to go up? So I sized down. So I scaled out most of my puts yesterday, which I could have captured majority of the move today too. So
I think that's interesting. I definitely actually am more of a screener person. I'm definitely looking for like volatility. I look for like percentage gainers and losers in the market. I definitely do have a list of stocks, and the list is not short. It's actually, you know, fairly long at this point that I'll trade, and it's split by sector. So I really actually stick to a lot of top-down analysis actually, in how I approach everything. And then once I find something that has more of a technical setup, and that's it's not even if none of the stocks on my stock list do I not know what's going on with them. Right, like it's not an incredibly large amount, and they're all ones that I've done some due diligence on. I have some sort of idea about what's going on. So although I definitely still love the fundamentals in those trades, I'm really looking for that technical setup on a daily basis, and then at night I'm doing the homework and trying to figure out about the terms of Discovery's trust with Warner or whatever it is. But from just a day trader and Momo perspective, kind of like Chris was saying, I'm definitely looking for the thing that has the most active hands, right? And previous to recently, after it became way too played out, I definitely am a short squeeze trader. Like I would put it up in our Discord all the time, the list of the low float, high short stocks, and just say, look, if Legend Pharmaceuticals has a day, like, you guys just understand that it's on my watch list. Westwater Reserves, these are on my watch list, because I just know if it gets an inch of attention or half of a decent thing happens, it's going to make that move. There's just not so much float to absorb any real momentum. Anybody have? I'm looking in the comments now. Anybody have an opinion on AHT? I think that's Ashford.
That's a FinTwit trade. I know Zach Morris is on it heavy. I'm not into it at all. I stopped taking Atlas calls a while ago.
Okay.
Well, Ashford Hospitality.
Okay, yeah, Ashford Hospitality. Yep. You know anything about it, Chad? You into that?
No,
You want to
no,
pull
no,
up a chart
no.
and do the thing?
No. I'm looking at it right now. I just don't know exactly.
No, it's cool. Let's we can take a look together. Let's take a look at this thing. It's not looking good. It's not looking
And
good.
that's
Maybe we can
exactly
say
why I
we've
don't do that
got
anymore.
we've
Like, it's
got
a
the
hitter.
potential for a little double bottom here. Maybe if we could break above this previous high. I mean, it's the look to the left, chop city sort of thing for me. But that's just being a technical person. I'm sure there's, just because it's a medical thing, I'm sure there's some sort of FDA approval or some sort of thing that they're looking for.
Was there some
Jesus
catalyst? Because
Christ, what
look
happened
at
to this thing?
That is bad. Is there? You see that? That's why I don't really like trading like things with a lot of news catalysts, because at what point, you know, like technicals matter, but when you have like Elon Musk or someone tweeting, or like let's say China saying that they don't want crypto anymore, it's like technicals just go out. They just crush every freaking technical there is.
I agree with you 100%.
I mean, that's really why I even get into crypto in the first place at this point. It's just like, what do you do? What do you do? I don't want any stock I've ever held to go 14,000%. But if Cumrocket does it, I'm okay with that. You know what? Shiba Inu or what, you know, pick your favorite weird one. Cause yeah. And even great companies, I don't know, Rocket Mortgage fell to meme stock life and it's just been doing absolutely nothing since that IPO, even though I think it's a great company. The next week you see. All right. Anything else? You guys know anything about Lindt Swiss chocolate? Somebody says buy Lindt Swiss chocolate stock and forget about it.
I think they were more so responding to the timing you were talking about what aftermarket therapy is. And I was like, that's their therapy. They're just gonna buy chocolate stocks and call it a day.
I'm not mad about that. I mean,
into what you buy.
Yeah, if I bought, you know, Yum Brands every time I bought Snickers, I'd be like, I'd be in a world of riches, way more than I am now.
So I'd actually about crypto.
Yeah, about crypto. Like, what do you guys what do you think, Alaine, on the whole crypto situation? You think we have more downside or?
Oh, for sure. But you know what? I had a bunch of crypto people on here. Was it last episode?
It was last week.
It was last week. Jesus Christ. And I asked one of them and I said, hey, like, so what's your EOY prediction for Bitcoin? And he's like, well, it's either 30,000 or 108. Right. And I liked that, because that's very representative of the amount of, like, we're laughing, but it's like, okay, well, this guy's kind of reasonable here. At least he has a reasonable expectation in both directions, I'd say, to be honest. And you can't be mad at something that does a 50% down move in a day when it's gone up 5,000% in a year. So I just, me personally, I'm all for it. I'm like, I hold Bitcoin. I haven't sold. I have no real intention of selling, to be honest. I bought in way before this price, and it's, for me, I read an article on Bloomberg today that said we're now going to see who's in it for the technology and who is in it for a quick buck. I do believe in the technology. That is my fundamental bet. It is not on the fact that Bitcoin's going to replace all currencies and all that stuff. I believe in blockchain, and I've seen the use cases. There are a number of them.
I think we're getting some latency again.
Elena's consolidating.
Well, I'll kind of jump in while she reconnects.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, go ahead.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, I hold Matic, Cosmos, whatever. So for me personally, I'm still looking for people that deal with scaled level 2 solutions to conducting transactions in a way that doesn't have Ethereum gas prices. I'm looking for consensus methods that reduce energy consumption. I'm looking for energy methods that are, you know, whatever, carbon neutral or net negative, even if that's humanly possible. I think those are more important. And for me personally, trades, and like, I think most investors have diamond hands for things that they believe in, right? Well, I definitely believe in the power of this thing to change supply chain. I definitely believe in the power of this thing to change, in some ways, consumer finance. And yeah, so I'm still pretty into it. I don't know, Chris, we talking crypto for a second?
I was just gonna say what I'm holding, and I'm not really gonna get into my personal conviction on crypto because that's a whole different story. But honestly, I mean, I feel like everybody holds Bitcoin. Just like you have to hold Bitcoin at this point because I mean, ideally, like you said, it's either 30,000 or 100,000. Where can it go? I don't know. What happens when Patrick Mahomes says, "Hey, I'm doing my contract in Bitcoin this year," or Tom Brady's already talking about getting into it, but like the football season's coming up, basketball season's in play. These people are getting into it, so I feel like you just have to hold some Bitcoin in general, just because Bitcoin. I mean, I've kind of seen the slogan "Bitcoin is king, Bitcoin rules all," kind of, but I mean, I just hold some just in case they're right. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I'm more so Ethereum Cardano based before I can even like be like, all right, yeah, Bitcoin's going to do it all. I think there's not, and I'm not saying Bitcoin isn't that. What I'm saying is there's a bigger percentage to gain for me if I play Ethereum or Cardano as opposed to Bitcoin. Because even if it does, you know, even if you buy right now at 30, 40, 50,000, all right, let's say it goes to 100,000. That's 2-3 times your money that you put right now. Do you know how long it takes me to go 2 or 3 times my money on a UVXY play when the market's going down? 20 minutes. So like for me, it's not that.
Oh, I love that. The risk to reward profile, man. That's there we go. That's what you were talking about too, Chan. Big shout out to Jake for being so passionate about Cardano in the comments. ADA, I'm with you, man. I'm holding too. Chan, you're holding crypto right now. Are you deep in it? Do you consider it a hedge against market fluctuation? What's your thoughts?
I think I'm gonna get bullied here because I traded crypto, but I don't really like you said, I believe in blockchain technology, but I don't believe in like as for crypto. And I think it's so high right now. Like I am invested into blockchain like Humble. I think Chris Chris, did we ever speak on Humble? But I'm on Humble. It's on FinTwit.
Yeah.
That's one of my blockchain plays. But as for crypto itself, I think it's just a little too. I wish I would have gotten a lot earlier. I'm a hater right now because I didn't get in early. But I think it's too risky for me. I think China being the one to ban crypto is one of the reasons why I didn't, because I could see just regulation coming in like left and right or this and that, and you know the United States government is not going to let crypto, like you said, Alaine, you're not going to take it as a currency because the U.S. government is not going to let anything like that happen. You know, they're going to shut down crypto really fast in the case that they find a threat necessary. But I think blockchain has a huge thing, smart contracts. I think it's beautiful. So I am in blockchain plays, but crypto itself, I'm just staying away from it.
Another thing for me, right? So I like the idea of blockchain, and I'm bullish on it, on the technology, the same as you guys. But I kind of hold crypto, right? I can trade Mar and Riot. Like the miners are way more interesting because they actually mine the technology, right? I'm interested in the technology, and the winning player is going to continue to be mined by these companies, and I can understand that, right? Now, and why they're mining it, they understand that, and eventually I will. But as far as being first to it, I'm gonna hold, you know, the technologies that I do understand to a certain extent. But I can just trade the miners on the stock market, and it makes way more sense to me. There's way different levels to rules to support and resistance. You know, there's like you said, you can do a top-down analysis and get to an answer. With Bitcoin, it's so much harder to do that. So I just feel like you kind of just get you a good entry point, and you kind of just hope for the best. I mean, you know, if you're making an investment, you know what you're getting into. But with crypto, until the regulation comes into play, which we don't know what the regulation is going to look like, right? Like, what if the government says, "Hey,
we do, Chris.
hold
on.
U.S. dollar coin is here."
I think we do know.
And now that's the crypto.
Gonna like that's exactly what you think. China released.
You're lagging.
They're all of them now. Bitcoin is illegal to have. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're clear now. Yep.
Oh, okay. China releases a Chia coin, right? Chia, whatever it's called. And now all of a sudden, Bitcoin transactions are illegal. It's actually very simple. This is what every person in
Exactly.
equities was saying had the potential to happen. Every country is going to do it for sure. There's no question of why they wouldn't. And it is what it is. Now, does that destroy the crypto market? No, not even close. If somebody comes up with a particular consensus method or blockchain that's hyper effective, is there a potential for some sort of, whatever adoption? Absolutely. But I'm with you. Sorry, Chris. It's just like I was talking with somebody else, and I was saying, like, you know what? Although I love talking about the market, and I'll continue to, there's nothing new to say. We talked about this. We've been saying all of these things. Everybody who's been predicting a pullback and saying the market's a little overextended, SPY at 422 was coming in pretty hot. Like, this is a great run. We're in a bubble. Everybody's been saying it. Inflationary concerns. We've been worried about it. And they're playing out exactly as you would expect. The housing bubble, right? Like, all of these things are still looking to play out. And we've talked about them. I mean, what are we going to act surprised when tapering happens? The answer is yes. Yes, the market is absolutely going to act surprised. Or the next time there's another big COVID situation in another country, are we going to act shocked? Of course. But like, this has been a global concern. And the fact, I mean, I don't even want to get started on what's going on with Israel and Palestine, but like, just the way, and on top of that,
And
I don't
India.
know, the Biden administration has reacted exactly the way we thought they would too so far. I haven't actually really been surprised with bipartisan, workarounds or effective. Well, I'm not gonna get too political, but I've definitely struggled to see. Mind you, Jay Powell has been saying all this stuff too. He's been saying it, but it's particularly dovish, and it does not address people's concerns. But he's been saying it. Hey, we think the economy is recovering pretty well. We don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to get too crazy. We are still concerned about transitory inflation, and we want structural. Right. And we're looking to gain that. And we will taper once we see that. And we see employment numbers come up, and employment numbers a week. And then people are like, oh, no, he's still considering tapering. He said he was considering tapering, but not for a certain amount of time. Sorry, I'm kind of diatribing, but people are playing out just how they seemed. Elon and Bitcoin. Is anybody truly deeply surprised?
No,
That guy got to get put in his place.
I have such another thesis for that, and I don't know. Can we address Elon on here? Like, I don't want to make enemies, but I mean, let's be real. Like,
Please.
let's just be honest. Okay, so we're in the middle of a semiconductor shortage, correct? Okay, Tesla just had the best quarter that it's ever had, correct? Okay, did they do it on the amount of cars that they sold? Absolutely not. You want to know how they did it? Bitcoin. You know how to do the next quarter? Dogecoin. Why? Because he has the power to drop the price all the way down to as low as he wants to take it. And then he can make it run 200-300% with a tweet. And all he has to do is be invested and put it on his books. And next thing you know, I now not only have control over the stock market, but I can control and manipulate how much money I'm making on top of my books and publish it. And because nobody can do anything about it because it's crypto, it's perfectly legal. It's genius. It's not right, but it works. Who's going to stop him?
I mean, I personally think that Elon and, well, most people, like, I feel like people at that level, they know things, right? And something we've all said is that U.S. regulation on Bitcoin, or I've said it for sure, all they have to do is create some sort of tax, like some, whatever, heavy implied tax on businesses that conduct business in Bitcoin. And that's it. There will be no more institutional adoption. There will be no good reason to do it anymore. They could just make it fiscally terrible to do. And it could be, I don't care what crypto it is, right? So, and not only that, anybody who does, transactions with foreign currency conversion sucks. It's terrible. All it does is make your books more complicated. I feel like both of those things combined, and it said, like, look, man, cost effectively, this is not it. Now we got the pump, we've made the money, let's leave while we're up, and there you go. And of course, let me use this thing. Like, I mean, come on, we've all, well, Chan, I don't know, but like, you've been hearing about the crypto community. They've been talking about energy efficiency with mining for years. Like, this isn't a special thing. This isn't new. Where this is literally what the new blockchain and smart contract capable blockchains are designed to help with. Gas fees, mining fees. that's absolutely it. So it's like I don't know why the market responds so crazily to a tweet that the guy does. And on top of that, it's not like he owns the majority of Bitcoin or the majority of anything, right? Does he? Do we even think that he sets the bar for how a CEO or an institution will adopt Bitcoin? I don't know, actually. I mean, but that's just me, and I'm just some person. But I feel like if people are, and I like Kathy, like I like Kathy Woods, I like what she stands for. But if people are willing to go and look at her ETF and say, we want to short this just based off of the fact that it's her and she's made some really bold predictions, whatever, there is that, right? People bet against certain people. I mean, yeah, Elon bears have gotten demolished time and time again, and maybe will continue to get demolished. But there's something to be said about like too many people are looking at this thing and saying the risk doesn't match the potential reward. Like you're saying, Chris, you can get the reward with UVXY. You can get the reward with trading mining stocks. You can get the reward. Copper for sure gave us. Corn would have given you that reward.
Absolutely. Lumber. My thing is, here's another thing though, right? Like, I don't know if anybody saw the thing, what she said today, but her prediction on Bitcoin I don't know if it was, I didn't necessarily check the time horizon on that, but she said 500,000, and I instantly I needed to know a time frame on that, because I'm like, there's no way like you can actually publish this. But I mean, I guess you can, right? But my thing is like, okay, if Bitcoin to $500,000, let's just estimate that it did. If you honestly believe that, every stock that I own would have exposure to Bitcoin. Every single one. Does she have them? Yes. Does she have a portfolio that's strictly Bitcoin exposure? Absolutely not. I don't think she's that convicted in the trade.
Well,
personally,
the thing with analysts is that they just put out whatever they want to put out there, and people with analysts, it's weird because people react to their crazy speculation in a positive way if it hits, but like when something doesn't hit, it's just like, oh, whatever. But for you, let's say Chris on FinTwit, if you say something wrong, everyone's gonna be like, whoa, what the hell? But if you say something good, no one cares, even though it hit. But for analysts, it's the opposite. You say some outrageous thing like Kathy Woods, they're like nice, but the 10 other ones that she called out, it's complete like, all right, whatever. So it is what it is.
But I mean,
it is what it is. You know what I can say for Kathy, and it is like the way all of us sort of feel. It's like when you have conviction, and I do like that about her. She's not listening to any of us. She gave us that Tesla, what was it, 1500 medium prediction, or was that low? Whatever it was, right? It was Tesla to like 4,000 by 2024 on the high end. I mean, that she did that unashamedly, and based off of purely robotaxi. So not thinking about energy, not thinking about whatever anything else, solar, just robotaxi.
And the crazy thing is, we talked about that. And I don't know. I mean, we talked about it 2 weeks ago with the Lucid interview. Nobody's quite there yet. Like, if they do get there, maybe they can, but not 4,000. No, I just don't see it.
Well, I've been actually hearing. I listened to a speech from somebody who worked with one of the largest companies in terms of data analytics for driverless cars, and he said no company is closer than any other one. And it's not and it has nothing to do with the amount of data. They said that the amount of data that each car creates in just 10 minutes of driving, it's multiple terabytes of information from all the sensors, which that checks out. And he said analyzing that data to find out the few important times when you actually need it and need to add that analysis is extremely complicated. And there's no company that has figured out how to do that yet. So it doesn't necessarily matter that Tesla's been taking driving data since 2010 or whenever it is, even though, it's not even autonomous data, it's just driver data in general, right? But the thing is, who's processing that? And how do they make it more effective for the 0.0001% times when they truly need the car to react properly to avoid, whatever that off chance life or death thing. And on top of that, at the end of the day, I do feel like for retail people, even for institutional people, how do you gauge the difference between a lot of these car companies other than what we hear, right? But when you get to talking to engineers, when you get to talking to designers, data analytics people, the story is, yeah, you know what? The innovation is, we have the idea of innovation for sure. We're a lot farther out than we think. We're definitely working on supply chain and infrastructure issues because the materials, yeah, you know, Chris, you've been saying that GM is full of shit for saying that they're not going to be affected by the semiconductor shortage. And they haven't said a word about that, right? That's not something they consider. So everybody else on the planet seems to have been affected by the semiconductor shortage, but GM's good. It is
With what partnership?
crazy statement. Now, yeah. And so something that's been really important is like seeing through a lot of the language of these CEOs recently. I have another friend who's been deep diving, you guys, on the Discovery AT&T merger. Trust, right? And telling me about it and telling me why she thought it was suspicious and talking deeply about the CEOs of Discovery and their new move and give a breakdown of why she doesn't think that the subscriber rate going up really is effective when you think about the stickiness of the company and their ability to gain market share and maintain profitability, I guess, right? And it's like, I just don't see so many people doing that same thing to Elon. I don't see so many people giving that same analysis.
He's above regulation. At this point. Like,
I don't understand how he can say what he says.
Like, honestly, think about it. What would happen if Elon Musk went to jail? Like, if Elon Musk tweeted, "Come save me," do you know how many people would be at his house?
Yeah, they're never going to be able to Jack Ma him.
Yeah, you can't Jack Ma.
You can't.
So something I kind of wanted to get into, though, since we're pulling up on time here, is so broad market. How did you guys feel about today? How was your trading day? Yeah, go for it.
No, I was actually excited to kind of get into the futures because I know even Chan was saying, "What do you think is going to happen tomorrow?" And I was like, I was waiting for you to break down the futures. I was actually kind of getting excited. It's 7:55. I was getting into it, but to be perfectly honest, I was actually looking at them. And well, today, of course, we had a down market, and we're kind of in the chop still. Jeez, we're still sitting at right under 410 right now on the S&P futures, and so it's like, I don't know what to say about tomorrow right now. I guess. I want to look in the morning. I know lumber. I'm trading Home Depot tomorrow so far. Other than that, I have no idea. Like, where are you standing right now? I kind of want to wait until morning to confirm my trades.
Oh, same. You know me. I'm an analyze it at the time that it's happening sort of person. You know what? Today was really interesting. And we saw some really interesting movement. I really love the confirmation of the 12,000, kind of 13,000 sort of region of support in the NASDAQ futures, as well as that bounce that we did in the S&P futures. Jesus Christ. Yep, really nice long tails, a good bounce over here in the S&P futures, and just something that said, hey, you know what? Do I think that we're going to go through this 410 region and smash to the upside? No, but on a fairly large sell-off day, look at our buying volume. Right? That rebound that happened, I mean, that was really constructive. We saw that happen. That came across all of the indices, that came through Bitcoin as well, with what, a 30% rebound again. So I see something like this. I see this respecting all around this 410 region. I much like you, Chan, I definitely saw that that gap over near 400, 4,000, wherever you want to call it. And think that if we do break below, so sorry, let me zoom out a little bit. As you look over here at my Star Wars spaghetti, I have this sort of upward trending channel, right? This ascending channel. And then I have some Fibonacci extensions and retracements that are kind of going along with that. We've seen some respect along both of these things. So we saw that 416 level be our resistance, turn into a support, the breakout, the rejection, and then the hold right along our trend line here. So this is something that for me personally, is constructive. I'm not really down on it. Now, if we do break here, break this 409, I definitely would be, and break our trend line, I will be looking to the 4,000 gap fill. And then below that, probably 393, to be honest, to the support that we saw here, back in March, basically. But even with the correlation, kind of how we can correlate what's going on with NASDAQ to some Bitcoin, right? It's a totally different thing here, but I know that the NASDAQ and Bitcoin have run together in the past. So we're seeing this. It's like these. This is such an indicative thing. A sort of tail like this says a lot. It says that there's still pent up demand. They're looking to buy. And this is, even though we definitely have, this is, turning into a fairly bearish retracement as we're seeing our moving averages cross. This type of support and bounce for me is a really strong potential indicator of already maybe having found a little bit of a bottom over here at the 30,000 region. And then to come back over here into the NASDAQ real quick, same thing, like having these really long. Now I'm surprised that we ended the day green, right? Shocked even that we ended the day green, but seeing this support here building over here in the 12,900 region, these are things that are potentially sort of bullish for me in the short term, to be honest. Could I expect us getting rejected in this big place where we've been rejected a number of times? Yeah, absolutely, I can. And not only that, but especially I expect some rejection as we try to re-enter into our uptrending pattern, right? Because the market was really exuberant. However, if we look at the earnings, specifically like the Walmarts, the Home Depots, the consumer cyclicals and staples, they're saying that people want to go outside. Right. And if we look at what people are buying inside of Walmart, it's like luggage flying off the shelves, a 400% increase in luggage sales. So although I have so many economic concerns and worldly concerns, I'm also really excited to see how people are going to react with the job market, because we have this weird thing where some people have a lot of money. They've done really well over this break, and some people are doing terribly and will continue to do terribly until specific help affects them. And this broad amount of volatility is, I think, respecting just how unsure everybody is of these two different sort of communities and ideologies passing through. Some people need more economic assistance in specific situations. I think probably could use some more quantitative easing. And the state of California said that they have a surplus. But at the same time, where Biden's like handing out more money to different states, California says there's a $76 billion surplus. I don't know. I don't want to be dead wrong on that. Right. So we're having some really conflicting narratives, which I'm seeing respected. Sorry, that was not an answer at all. It's just more analysis and thought. I'd love to see us break over. Sorry, what moving average is this? I'd love to see us break over the 100. Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm sure if I put it up that we probably just tapped on the 200 down here. That's the way these things usually work. But I'd love to see us establish a little bit. And you know what else? Sorry, to get kind of nerdy. I do love a little bit of a W. Those W recoveries. We like those, right? That fits sort of like a pattern that you see all the time. So now I'm looking for a break over the. Yeah, for sure. You get a little double bottom. You have a nice little lip, something to kind of say, hey, we break here. I'm looking for the upside all of a sudden. You want to see a break with volume, a little momentum behind it. So, I'm I'm still potential. My technicals don't really have a crystal ball attached to them until they do. Chen, how are you feeling about the market in general? And how are you staying safe with some of this volatility that's going on?
So like I said before, I think there is one more move down. So last week when we had the huge down day, what we usually see and what I like to play, especially on like a week where we go extremely down, what I used to trade all the time was Tesla. So every time Tesla gets shorted like crazy on Friday, they always have some sort of squeeze. Same with the pandemic back in March. Literally every Friday, you'll see some sort of like huge squeeze just because people don't want to hold it into the weekend. So I was thinking about a squeeze play, hoping for the market to, have a rally and then short on Friday into like further out in June. Maybe something of that sort. I could still see it, but with today's recovery, I don't know how they plan to do it. That's why I'm really right as of right now. I'm swinging puts. I do think we still have another leg down, but my puts are for June something, like the second week of June. So I still got time in my hands, and if we can't get above 412.5 on the SPY, I think we still going down to fill that gap at the 400 level. So my puts are for June and even September. So as of right now, I think we still have downside. I think today was strictly a relief bounce. Maybe we get more covering into Friday, but I don't see if we don't get above 412, I still have my bearish projection intact.
Yeah, I love that. You know, and you know what? Just to like kind of add some other flavor here, somebody wants us to look at UAVS. God, Chan, do you have a history with UAVS? I feel like we all do.
I know that's the drone company, right?
Yeah, it's the drone company. They were supposed to have a contract with Amazon. Everybody went nuts about them last year at one point, and then I kind of just decided that I wasn't going to play them anymore. It just got way too much hype train on it. But every couple of months, somebody finds some reason to be into them. It's not a terrible company, and what they do obviously has a good use. I don't know if I like this particular pattern, but we don't have to go into that. There were some pockets in the market that really did do well and are showing some potential promise. I feel like semiconductors and some of our favorite 3D printing stocks, XONE specifically. I think NNDM also had a good day. I know Desktop Metal did not, even though they just had their earnings. Let's see here. You guys taking a look in so something that Kathy Wood said in her Bitcoin's going to 500,000, and I did not see a date on that. So we have nothing to truly talk about. What if she meant just by the end of by the time we die, Bitcoin might be $500,000? 3DS, another great 3D printing company. Sorry. She said that growth is on sale right now. And boy, do I agree with that statement. Pick your favorite growth stock, whatever it is. I think AMD actually did have a sub day. But for the most part, growth is down. Growth is struggling right now, and at a great buy point if you have a stock that you have a decent amount of conviction in. Is there any growth that you guys are looking at? And are you already bought in on the dip instead of waiting for things to play out? Do we need to see another earnings come through? Because for me, I definitely would love to see. I'm already ready for another earnings season so we can see if all that whatever economic assistance and stuff like that actually was the only reason why people were out buying, or if people are actually making money. That's my question, especially for some of the bigger consumer side stocks.
There's a couple of things that I want to see play out. Not only just the growth stocks, but the reopening trades that I don't think are quite where people say they are. In particular, Airbnb. I've been looking at the Airbnb market. It's disgusting. Like, there's no reason why I would want to get a hotel with continental breakfast over an Airbnb at this point. But that's just me personally. AMD, I'm actually in. I know somebody did bring up UWMC. I did want to touch on that real quick. I'm liking the like UWMC, RKT, REITs, that specific area. Even the MOGOs that are talking about doing like mortgages with Bitcoin, which I think is super interesting, but I don't think it's quite thought through. But for UWMC in particular, I like to wait until the lumber prices kind of settle out. In particular, I think the housing market is getting a little bit too expensive, just in general from the commodities that it's taking to build these homes. And so eventually people aren't going to be able to pay for that. And once that bleeds out, the market's going to bleed out a little bit. There'll be some blood in the water. And then when that blood goes in the water, then I'm looking to jump into RKT. I'm looking to jump into UWMC. I'm looking to jump into some REITs, and I'm looking for 200% on those trades. Absolutely. Just not yet.
Yeah, I'm into that. I mean, I AMD and Xilinx both up on the day as well. I'm whoever put that in the chat. Like, I'm all here for it. I'm happy to see this semiconductor story start to play out. Like, it's been obvious, and we've been following the supply chain all the way up to silver or whatever, copper, whatever it is. Like, I've been following it all the way up to water, right? Like, found out that fresh water was important for semiconductors, and all of a sudden now that's something I'm considering. And it's nice to see, I guess, some of that thesis. There's been nothing but demand right? Like things are performing at over 100% of their expectations. And I get it. The stock market doesn't go straight up or straight down, but Jesus Christ, a fundamental slam dunk if I've ever seen one. And just watching really weak price action in some of those plays. So Lamb Research is another one. What is Applied Material? You know, it's just nice to see those plays kind of doing what we would have all thought that they would do, just from the fundamental side and also from a technical side. Jesus Christ, this thing is on a discount. Right, it's like if we're looking at forward revenue for AMD, I'm feeling positive on where they're at in terms of price action, to be honest, and didn't have a problem buying on the dip. Chen, any semiconductors takes? Or you said you're really trading mostly SPY, so you're really more. Yeah. Do you even really spend time digging deep into your individual stocks? So you just stay broad based on the market and look for overall direction?
Yeah. So if I see something like spectacular come up on the scanner, then I'll look at it. But like you said, since I'm mainly trading the indices, I want to see the same direction. So I wanted to have the boost of the market instead of trading against the market. So as of right now, I wouldn't, like me personally, I wouldn't take any longs until I get a direction. I think everyone was waiting for this FOMC meeting to be done so that we know a little more as to what might happen. I think we're going to get more clarity into the upcoming week, but I just charted out UAVS. So whoever was asking about it, I just wanted to, it does look good. I think we're going to get some upside. Talking about shorts, there's a 23% short float on it, Alaine. So that might be something that, yeah, you would love. 23% short float, and the float is 45 million. Yeah. So I think we're getting some curling right here. I'm just post it. Oh no, but I don't even know if they could see it, but yeah. Yeah, I think we just finished the correction. We have somewhat of on the weekly chart, we have like a bullish wedge forming. I think this is a macro count. So I think we just finished correcting a huge, if I'm correct, this is wave 2. I don't see any sort of micro count. So this is a bigger picture of things, and we're beginning wave 1 of 3. So it should take us up. Short-term target will probably be around the 578 area, and then a little pullback until we get the 795. But a stock like this with so much anticipation with the contracts and everything of that sort, you're just gonna have to know that there might be some sort of catalyst that would, either boost it up. But yeah, this is my chart. This is wave 1 of 3. So whoever was asking about it.
So when do you, Chen? So when do you enter on a play like this? What would you be looking for? If you were gonna go and move into this and take a position, what would you do?
Depending on as of right now, like I said, since I am bearish on the market, I wouldn't necessarily enter this trade. If it does hold this level well, and we do get some sort of maybe engulfing, as you see, there's some buying over here. If we could potentially dip back down to this 4, which is a 20% move, so that's a little, a little more of a a waiting game. But if we could dip back to the 4 level and see how we get over there, if we still have support, then I'll probably enter there so that my risk reward is okay. But like I said, since I'm bearish on the market, I wouldn't join this trade just because, especially if I don't know the stock. Because back then I used to trade AMD, Facebook, etc. Every single stock has their own like pattern and like personality. They're like little babies. So I don't know how this plays. I don't know how it reacts. So it wouldn't be something that I'll look at, especially if I'm bearish in the market. I wouldn't be bullish on this.
Yeah, I see that. For me, I've traded this stock for some time now, or not really, but I've definitely looked at it for some time. And it's something that just has a huge amount of public sentiment to it. So you see, like if you look at it, you have a weekly chart pulled up, right? And I think that's what it is. So, right, if you look, you see this huge up weeks, these incredible, whatever, multi-double-digit percentage moves, and then followed by completely engulfing bearish candles. Which is, and if we look at the volume comparison between the buying days and the selling days, people are very exuberant to sell this thing, potentially even more so than they are onto it. which just tells me that people aren't believing in this company. They're looking for short-term gains. So I definitely would like to see a break of, I mean, for me personally, I mean, I at least need to see this thing break $6 with some volume, and maybe even hold that as a support. I don't even want to catch the bottom on this thing. I don't know where the bottom is. It has been sort of building this base, sure, in the $4 region, the low of 419, but I don't know. Right. And then in terms of, I think this is a partnership one. And so I really, maybe much like you, I avoid stocks like this that are waiting on big news in order to get that public sentiment. It reminds me of Workhorse. I hate
Oh
Workhorse.
my God, no.
Right, exactly. There's nothing there. And the only thing is this potential. But you know, Chris, you traded FDA approval plays to profitability. And that's something I never consistently was able to do. And this is kind of what this stock kind of makes me feel like. And I look at this chart, I look to the left, and I just say, people don't want to hold this thing. That's very clear. And even anytime it does get bought up, we immediately break down in 2 weeks or less. So yeah, I definitely don't love the price action.
Yeah, I think if
Chris?
we can make it back to the $4 level, maybe then I will look at it. I don't know.
Yeah, semiconductor bill in the House now. Yeah, no, they want to put support for sure for American semiconductors. But the question is that enough? I think with semiconductors, we've learned that having money isn't necessarily make you a semiconductor company. Ask Intel all about that. they're dumping money in to try to catch up to what they missed in terms of that wafer thinness, which I've heard is mostly a scam anyways. And they can't do it. Right, in 2024, they're saying that they'll be coming out with 7 nanometer, whereas you know, some of the other ones are saying they'll AMD. I think they're saying they'll be at 3. So it is like a tricky one. Nice to see Biden talking about it. I want to know how it's truly going to play out and alienating some of our biggest, turning this into a trade war when like a lot of the products are global seems just counterproductive to me. I'm always down to talk semiconductors. Sorry, I'm kind of excited that they're talking it in the chat. But with that said, you guys, I'd love to hear some closing thoughts. Chris, how do you stay profitable, man, when the market's handing the stuff like it has been for the past week? We're different people from the last time you've seen us, right? We trade crypto now. I feel very seasoned. How are you staying green?
Can't hear you, Chris.
Oh, Chris. Oh, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
He said go short.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. So no, I didn't short. To be perfectly honest, I hedged. And to be 100% clarity, like I wasn't green today. I lost, but I only lost like 1%, 1.2% overall on my account. Now, granted, my crypto portfolio like tanked, but 300% on UVXY is the kind of thing that'll save your account. Shivam kind of talked me into it. You've kind of helped me with developing like the entries and exits for it. But I also believe in holding the UVXY like as insurance. It's my car insurance. If I pay $100 a month for this thing, right? And I don't need it and I lose $100, I lose $100. But if the market tanks and I make $800 or $900 or something like that, and it prevents my account from going to the negative, then I'm great. Now, granted, that's scaling. That's not necessarily how it looks, but you know, I just wanted to make it relatable.
I love the vol hedge. I want to know, hey Chris, how's your commodities portfolio looking? Are you still neck deep in that, or are you easing off some of those trades?
To be perfectly honest, right now I'm riding miners. I kind of told you about the Hecla mining trade that I'm in, and I've kind of been riding this thing since $6. I do think that the materials, precious metals trade is still a thing. I do think the commodities trade is still kind of hot right now. And like I said, after that, I'm looking for the rotation into homes and things like that once that kind of cools off, because I feel like that's when people are going to go into buying. But I'm not done with the commodities trade yet. I don't think we're done. I think we have at least until the end of the summer. to kind of see how this thing plays out. And if my time horizon changes at the end of the summer, then I'll keep the trade. But right now, I'm running with miners that give me exposure to multiple of the precious metals. I'm also heavy in lumber. I have Home Depot. I was looking to get into Lowe's, and I think that, you know, what they did after earnings, I think that might be a good time to get into it. I just wasn't watching it today because of the market, so I'll be checking them out too.
I love that. Chen, how about you, man? How are you staying green in a market like this? And yeah, please go ahead and do some plug-in, man, if you want.
I mainly trade, like I trade for a living. I don't know if you guys know about my history, but I was NYPD, and I quit to trade full time. I have businesses on the side, so this is really like supplemental income. So I have to do well, and that's why I'm trying to always consistently learn more. And what I love about trading is I don't trade with a full size. I'm only trading 10 to 15% of my full portfolio. And I love playing the downside because I'm basically hedging my main portfolio. So it's like I could lose it, you know, I could lose my hedges and I'll still be green on my portfolio. But if I do make money, I'm basically hedging my main portfolio. So I love trading the downside. And I think fear is such a strong emotion that whenever we do go down, as you've seen, we go down. You know, we take the stairs up and we take the elevator down. So I love hedging. So I play a lot of puts.
Huh. Interesting. Would you say you're saying you're more of a short trader than a long one, huh?
Yeah.
When you when we have bull markets, do you kind of go like do you sell puts at that point, or how do you react on the opposite side?
No, like trading. I feel like in trading there's no such thing as a consistency. Like you're constantly changing. So if you see that you can't force, like for me, I can't force a put trade if the market just wants to go. Like I'm sure people were trying to time a short for the whole March, the recovery, you know, and people were like, this is it, we're gonna go down, and just got murdered. So I learned from that you just have to you just gotta play direction. You know, you can't force it, but I do favor the short side more than the long side, just because it's more fun. It's more quicker, and it's also doing my own portfolio a purpose. So it's like in terms of risk reward, puts for me is the best way to go.
I actually love that, man. And it's been really nice learning more about how you trade and how you approach the market. We're going to do a roundtable one of these days, and you're going to represent the short sellers, man. Like I nominate you. I feel like that this is a good one, a really good match, a good fit, and great eye on the Elliott wave analysis on the pullback. So yeah, go for it.
For the Elliott wave, believe it or not, I saw Michael Blurry, I think, short in Tesla. Mm-hmm. Elliott wave points to Tesla hitting 300 something. So
I said 250, Chen. That's my price target. 250. That's where I want to see it. I'm with you.
You guys are crazy. I'm going 325 and absolutely no lower.
Yeah. Like, I think it was 350-ish. And then when I saw that article, I was like, okay, like I'm a little more confident now. So let's see where that goes.
Yeah, well, you know what? On that day, I'm throwing an aftermarket therapy party. Ben came on here and had a drink. I don't really drink all that much, but I'll definitely have a champagne glass for the day Tesla hits 250. I'm writing it down. With that said, just to share, my particular strategy and method of staying green is I'm not over trading. That's what's going on here. I have some bets that I've been pretty confident on. I've added to that long-term portfolio. I have added to the fundamental analysis. For the person that asked last week, I am out of the Oxy trade. I've been out for a while now, maybe for like a week and change. I quit while I was ahead. I am looking at semiconductors to establish a little bit of a shorter term position. I am looking at 3D printing stocks to establish a short term position, depending on how we mobilize. But much like a lot of people, I've been screaming inflation. I've been screaming housing issues. I'm concerned about what happens when a lot of the COVID things, Texas just ended the extra unemployment joint. You know, like. I want to see how the country sort of reacts to that. So for me, I'm so patient, you guys. I love, Chen, how you're saying you only trade a few stocks. I know I said I have this huge list, and I do, but I don't make more than 3 trades a day. Like, that's it. And honestly, if I'm doing that every day, I've already messed up. It's less. So when I have conviction, and also for everybody, man, I feel like so many people, you guys had strong Januaries and Februaries. Strong. Chris, God, some of the plays you hit were insane, multiple 100% plays, you know, and it's just like, for most people, if they did that in the year, that would be it. If fucking Berkshire Hathaway does a 300% trade, that's it for the whole year. House Channel. We don't have time to go deep on AT&T.
I
Oh,
know.
man.
I just read it. I'm like, I'm sick about their dividend now. I'll just put it at that. I'm sick about that. Had to cut them. I'll jump into HRZN or SPAG or something like that. That actually gives me a monthly dividend.
I mean, I will say, like, I don't know. I think AT&T working with Discovery in terms of, like, this Discovery was a company that needed to add subscriber growth, and they were going to potentially be profitable. That's the goal. 1 million growth on their Discovery Plus every month says that by the time they hit their break even, it'll be mid to late 2022. So for AT&T to buy into that, it seems like, you know, just another revenue stream. It's not like they're going to change the world or anything, but overall, I'm into T personally. But with that said, normally around this time we cut it off. So if you guys want to plug and say where people can find you and stuff like that, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris. You first.
I was gonna let Chan and Alaine go first, and then I was gonna pick up where Alaine left off because you always leave yourself off, Alaine. But go ahead. Go ahead, Chen. You go first.
Oh, yeah. Guys, you can find me. I think the links are already below. Closerputs.com. That is the platform. If you guys, it will do you more harm than good if you guys are beginner traders. So if it's intermediate, you guys know what you're doing already. Just use it as a confirmation tool. So I don't recommend it to new traders because people just see a bunch of information and they don't know what to do with it. So make sure you guys don't get it if you're a new trader.
Thank you for saying that. I've always said that algorithms are not for new traders.
Yep.
And thank you for confirming that. I will want to say, like, can we make a special request, Chan? Like, can we get like a 15-20% off discount for the viewers that are watching right now? Okay, cool. That would be dope. That would be dope for everybody, so they can at least check it out if they want to try it.
All right. Yeah, I'll put the coupon code in the thing right now. We'll do Benzinga.
Oh, nice. Shout out Benzinga, Jason, Loot. So for me, I'm the Sage of Trades on Twitter. You can also find me at Stockhouse University on Instagram or the Stockhouse U on Twitter. I do also help run that page. Other than that, make sure you guys, tap in with us if you have any questions, maybe things that we didn't get to now. You can DM the Stockhouse U page and we'll try to get to them. If not, we'll see you guys next week. We got some great content coming up, and I'll pass it off to Alaine.
Yeah, I'm at Stockmom_ on Twitter. I also, I guess, do the Stockhouse thing on Instagram. A lot of Clubhouse things. I'm starting to do some podcasts. So I'll post the links to that on the Twitter. You know what? I actually really want to start referencing stories, trading stories, or alternatively, I'd love to take a thesis from somebody. So if you guys send that to my Twitter or the Stockhouse Twitter or Chris, it doesn't really matter. And you want some like deeper analysis or just to hear other people talk about the stock and talk about your thesis on bullish or bearish, I'd love to get some submissions. Actually, I'm going to start including people's stories. I get a lot of crazy trading stories of people who bought the dip and it kept dipping or stuff like that. And I don't know, for me, I think those conversations are really valuable. And watching us make fun of each other for having whatever type trades are, I think that's valuable too. Last but not least, in the morning show, I've got a new segment. I'm going to call it Scam Formers, Failures in Disguise. And we're going to start talking about companies that manage to turn mediocre business plays into large news events and get large price increases, even though they've done nothing. So many of my favorites come to mind. I mean, I think Elon's going to be a Hall of Famer in this one, but we can... there's a number of people. So we'll get into that. If you guys check us out on YouTube at Stockhouse University. Anyways, with that said, thank you so much, Chen, for coming and hanging out. I'd love to have you back. Chris, you're always here, but it's always nice to see you. I think these home team shows are important, so people know, that there's a whole crew behind this thing. It's not just me. and you're a really important part of that. So I thank you as well. But with that said, let's get some outro music and we'll call it a day.
All right, thank you guys. I'll see you guys around. I posted the
Thanks,
code
man.
for any of you guys that are interested. Benzinga20 is the code.
Nice.
you,
Thank you. I'll post that on our socials and everything as well.
Gotcha. Thank you guys.
No problem.